Have you ever sat across from someone, watching them smile and nod to everything you say, while your stomach is telling you to run? On the surface, the interaction looks normal, yet your intuition sounds a quiet alarm, picking up on a hostility that the person refuses to voice. Humans are biologically wired to prioritize group harmony. Because social exile once meant a death sentence, we instinctively suppress negative emotions, maintaining a polite exterior even when we feel a deep-seated resentment. This suppression creates a social vacuum, a hollow space between outward politeness and inward reality. When you are standing in that space, you feel a friction that isn't being acknowledged. This leaves the target in a state of constant confusion. Without clear feedback, you are left to guess at the true nature of the relationship, wondering if you've imagined the tension entirely. Because society forbids direct hostility in these settings, hidden dislike becomes a psychological shadow game, one where you are forced to play without ever being told the rules. To understand why this happens, we have to look past the awkward social interaction and examine the psychological engine driving the other person's behavior. Often, the primary trigger is insecurity. When someone witnesses your success or confidence, it can act as an accidental spotlight on the areas where they feel most inadequate. That inadequacy often manifests as jealousy, a resentment of the very traits or status that you possess naturally. To cope with these feelings, the brain often uses a defense mechanism called projection. Instead of facing their own perceived flaws, they deny them by attributing them to you. This means that a person's hidden animosity is rarely an objective assessment of your worth. It is a reaction to their own internal psychological deficits. The intense pressure of maintaining that projection eventually leaks into observable behavior, creating small cracks in the social mask. One sign is subtle distance. They may physically withdraw or keep conversations brief to avoid the discomfort your presence triggers in them. Hostility is also frequently masked as passive behavior. By forgetting to include you or choosing not to act on your requests, they maintain a level of plausible deniability while still expressing their resentment. You might also notice a forced politeness. These interactions feel rigid and hyper-formal, acting as a defensive wall to prevent any genuine connection that might expose their true feelings. These leaks aren't proof that you've done something wrong. They are visible evidence of the instigator struggling to keep their internal narrative intact. It is emotionally exhausting to be the target of these mixed signals. You are absorbing a quiet friction that you cannot name. When the brain encounters a social vacuum, it scans for patterns to make sense of the silence. This often triggers a loop of overthinking as you search through every recent interaction for a mistake that might explain the coldness. This overthinking can rapidly lead to social anxiety. You may assume you committed some unseen offense, taking responsibility for tension you didn't create. The true danger of hidden dislike isn't the other person's opinion. It is the risk that you will begin to internalize their projection as your own reality. We have to accept the foundational truth that it is impossible to be understood by everyone. Attempting to manage every person's perception of you is a futile effort. This reveals the core of the mirror effect. When someone secretly dislikes a quality in you, they are often reacting to a quality they struggle with inside themselves. Recognizing this projection shifts the focus from your perceived flaws back to their internal struggle. By identifying the root of the friction, the reflexive urge to fix the dynamic or blame yourself begins to lose its power. Their silent resentment functions as a confession about their own character. It reveals nothing about yours.